Okay.
Like, so how did you become interested in this sort of digital media stuff?
I started out when I was 19 years old. The first personal computer came about, and I was in Columbus, Ohio. Found out that the college pathway that I chose at the time was really not for me. Didn't like it, hated it. Dropped out of college at the time and started my own business. I was in the right place at the right time, big city, and they had a need for a high quality entertainment paper. And being a musician at the time and a good writer, I've always been a good writer and a good artist. I saw the need to publish a magazine, and I went out and got a loan and bought a Macintosh SE, and I started publishing a newspaper, which grew over a period of 3 years. We became the entertainment nightlife paper for the city of Columbus, Ohio. We were distributing like 20,000 of these things at the local record stores and nightclubs and whatnot, covering the live entertainment industry. And I had the honor of not just producing the publication and doing all the layout and the advertising sales, but actually, me and my staff, we got to interview Gene Simmons from Kiss. We got to interview B.B. King, Melissa Etheridge, the Black Crowes. A lot of upcoming artists back in the time. This was 1991. So that's how I got started in digital publishing. From that point, then computers started getting more and more powerful as my career grew, and I was more and more interested in entertainment. Started writing myself and doing electronic recording, being a musician. Then something around one day, something out came out called the internet, and we were like, what is this? Next thing I know, I'm interested in web design, and started taking on web design. Over a period of several years, I connected with a variety of different business clients and started some small business ventures doing educational publishing of CD-ROMs, like audio lectures on CD, early multimedia presentations on DVD, and experimenting with the very first generation of live webcasting over dial-up modem. We were using Real Player at the time and the RTMP protocol. This was way back in 99, in 98, 99. And then from there, I moved back home to my native Pennsylvania. I grew up here. Moved back home to Pennsylvania and got into television production. I started a multimedia lab here, hired some people, had a small company, did a lot of work for economic development, DVDs, and promotional videos and chambers of commerce and stuff like that. Jeff Tech was one of my clients, as I said, and producing a television show. And now that's where I am here, teaching from all of that 20 years experience. So it's been quite a pathway, and the technology from back then, I mean, what you're seeing now here in the studio, you could do this 10 years ago, but you had to spend $250,000 to do it. Now you can do it on under 15 grand because it's all powerful desktop video. It's crazy how far it's come.
Yeah.
It's exciting times, man. No doubt about it.
Very.
Yep.
So you've been doing this for a long time then?
25
exactly?
years, yeah.
25?
Yep.
Okay. What sort of education stuff did you have to go through to get prepared for this?
As a media producer or as a teacher? As a producer?
A producer.
Honestly, straight up, I am completely 100% self-taught.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. Everything that I know, I have taught myself through online tutorials, through just cracking the books, and through kinesthetic learning, hands-on. You open up the package, you start doing. And I've never had a day of formal schooling in this in my entire life. Until, actually, I started to take my online or my courses through IUP for my teacher certification, and I actually had to do some instructional technology for a couple courses that I had to do. So, but again, it was stuff at that point that I could do in my sleep because it was, I was dealing with After Effects and true multimedia ROM production, and for this college course I was doing was PowerPoint. So it was like, an entry-level college course for a kid interested or a person interested in a career in education that you might get as a typical, a typical high school senior or college freshman. So that's the only formal training I had, and I had done that 20 years before. So Never had a day of formal training on the production aspect in my entire life. Yep, self-taught entirely.
Nice. So you said you're thinking about doing something else before you became interested in this?
In digital media?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually wanted to be a musician. At the time I had certain guitar players that I idolized, like many young folks that are interested in being a rock star, And I got interested in the business aspect of music industry and actually became a promoter. Frankly, I didn't have the I think I had the talent, but I didn't have the discipline to sit down and really teach myself to play. I did not have the patience to go and take formal lessons. I had to do it my own way, and just wasn't good enough to make that happen. And really, I found I really enjoyed the music business a lot more than playing anyway, and was good at it. So that's how I started publishing the magazine. So. Yeah, I actually, when I was a kid, I left high school and started down the pathway of electronics engineering, which, because of my love for music, I thought, oh, maybe I'll be the next Tom Schultz, and I'll make FX pedals and build circuit boards and build outboard gear and stuff like that. But that was too much math and science for me. I could handle it academically. I didn't like it, and.
Yeah.
So the business aspect of it and the performance aspect of it for me was fun. That's how I got into promoting music and then publishing about it. So that was the start of it for me. The genesis to moving on into the digital tools was just a necessity of the trade. I had to teach. If I wanted to publish a magazine, it was cheaper for me to make it myself than it was to hire somebody to do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I started teaching myself, realizing, hey, I'm pretty good at this stuff. And then I realized when I started working for a school that actually I'm a pretty good teacher. Hey, this could be cool. Best of both worlds. There we are.
So about how much money do you make doing this kind of thing?
It depends where you are in the nation.
I'd imagine more with like TV networks and stuff like that.
Absolutely. It depends, and it depends. You get into broadcast media, you're going to make infinitely more than you would working for a public broadcasting station. So it really depends on the realm of where your entry point is. I can send you some information on this. As a matter of fact, I just created a career pathways poster for my class at IUP, and the average median salaries that are being reported out there for, say, graphic designers, mid 40s, depending on where you live. Broadcast engineers, audio and video technicians working on broadcast and a TV station, anywhere from 40 to 60,000, depending, again, the size of the market, and depending on your education, because a lot of the careers in media, it's a lot more forgiving. There's a lot of careers out there where you absolutely have to have the 4-year degree. You're not going to get anywhere unless you got the 4-year degree. With media, there's a lot of entry-level jobs out there for people that have basic certifications. A lot of people break into it like I did. I didn't have a 4-year degree. I'm 44 years old now and going back to college. So I was able to make a good living, and I never once in 20 years I've done work for Citizens Bank. I did work for Cornell University. I did work for, public school systems. I've done work for major clients over the years. I've never had one ask me or pre-qualify whether I got the job based on where my degree was in media. They looked at my portfolio, they knew my work from somebody else, and they hired me or didn't hire me based on what they saw. So you can make a living within the realm of digital media without a degree. Is it advisable? If I were going to do it over again, I would go back and get my degree, because I would have been able to possibly been a little further ahead than I was now. I may have hit a ceiling along the way because I didn't have one, but I didn't know it because maybe they didn't. But then again, I was self-employed the whole time, and I never tried getting a JOB. So I don't know if that was an obstacle for me. Being an entrepreneur, it was not an obstacle. If I wanted to go and get an entry-level job in a TV station, it would be. Multimedia artists and animators, that's the hot ticket right now. Entertainment industry, video game industry, 3D modeling, virtual worlds, special effects for movies, as you saw here. You're looking at good money, man. $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, 70 up. Again, depending on where you go. You're not going to work for a movie company in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. It ain't here. But right down the road in Pittsburgh, big burgeoning movie industry. There are possibilities. Now, web designers, there's another one. 50 and up, depending on what you know. There's all sorts of different pathways that you can get into. Instructional technology, building websites and multimedia presentations for colleges and school districts and private curriculum development firms, online charter schools. Cyber schooling is a huge wave right now, the future, and mobile technology. So understanding how to use these technologies, you're looking, again, good paying jobs, 50 and above, but you got to know your stuff. When you start getting into some of those more specialized fields, especially dealing with education, then you're looking at a big plus to have the 4-year degree. You're not going to get into education at all unless you have that, if you're going to be getting into curriculum development and online learning tool development. So, a lot of possibilities out there, broad pathways, good money, but you got to go where the jobs are, and do your market research. That's my biggest advice. And if, as a young person, take the opportunity now to get the degree. Get it out of the way. I'm glad I'm doing it now as an older fella, but could I do it all over again? I would definitely have got my degree earlier on. But see, they didn't have these technologies back when I was your age. When I was 19 years old, to go to school for broadcast was a very, very different world. And at that time, I just wasn't interested in it because it was very old school, analog, a lot more science than what I was interested in. Too many plugs and wires, and it was clunky. I wasn't interested in that. I like the speed and the agility of the digital world. It's more palatable to how my brain works. So I can say now I'd go back to college, but frankly, I can't. If I were your age, getting into a potential career in digital media creation, I would definitely go to school now, knowing what is available. And think of it this way too: you can work anywhere. You not only get into media production, but you get into the realm of digital communications, and you effectively can communicate with people and clients all over the world and serve them right from your home studio. So from an entrepreneurial standpoint, the world is your oyster now if you get good at these digital media technologies. Definitely. And good money to be had.
Yeah, so what would be like the highest place you could get to? Like making the most money?
Like what would be the pinnacle?
Yeah.
I would say probably working for broadcast TV. How much do you think the guys are making that are making the special effects for Disney and for Spielberg movies? Get on and be a special effects artist for the next Tom Cruise movie, and I'm pretty certain you're going to be making a lot of money. Video gaming industry, all that kind of stuff. That's the entertainment industry is where the money is in all of this. But you'd be surprised what web designers make. Good quality web designers and web producers, web managers are also making, boku bucks because they're so valuable to a company. You have a massive company with thousands of employees and gets millions of hits to their website on a daily basis, and there's e-commerce involved and there's security issues involved. The web manager that's managing all that is worth their weight in gold. So there's a lot of money in that aspect of it too. Also a lot of money in education, consulting, online learning. Yeah, definitely. So wide open opportunities, definitely.
Yeah.
Again, you got to go where the jobs are, though.
So what do you personally enjoy best out of all this? Of all the different branches that you can go?
I really enjoy video production. It's always been my proclivity, where I naturally gravitate to. Video and audio production. I really enjoy audio production, radio style commercials, music recording, multi-track recording, music, bands, that kind of stuff. Graphic aspect of it, I'm not too crazy about. I'm decent at it, and I do it out of necessity. I'll tell you what I really, really want to get into, though. I could see myself someday. I'm really into the whole After Effects, special effects for movies, the 3D stuff, the special effects for broadcast and for the film industry. I dig, and I think down the road, that's probably what I'm going to get into. I really enjoy that. It's a different space. When you're working in 3D space like that, all of a sudden your creativity opens up. It gives you and it lends you so much more possibility than what you would normally be working with in a 2D space, being linear digital video editing. It's when you're working in 3D like this, it's a phenomenal experience, and all of a sudden these possibilities for design open up that you didn't have before. So I'm excited about the work that we're doing with After Effects right now.
So what kind of expectations do people have like, I mean, do you get a lot of time off? Do you have to dress up to come in? Do
That's
you
one
have
of the
to?
one of the advantages of this realm is this is the it's very artistic in nature. So a lot of the design firms. I mean, you go to work for a game company. I mean, they're gamers, man. They're sitting around in beanbag chairs, and it's a real relaxed environment. You see a lot of these startup companies in the big loft type environment. This was kind of one of the reasons why we designed the IT Academy the way that we did here, with the big open floor plan. Um, and again, it depends on where you go. The cyber world is a very different world, and it's much more casual. But if you got into the corporate side of it, most certainly you're going to be expected to dress professionally. So there's really not a rule as far as digital media production goes. It depends on where you're working, and it depends on the dress code and the code of general appearance and conduct based on your employer. So I can't say that there's a general rule within the realm of digital media, but I can say this. That there is a lot of flexibility and a lot of freedom to be yourself. There's a lot of freedom for, this program attracts a ton of artists, wannabe artists, music artists, singers, musicians, graphic illustrators, 3D animators. And these are kids that, generally speaking, are very nonconformist, and they enjoy the ability to be able to be themselves. And this pathway, as a career pathway, that's what's beautiful. If you want to get high tech and you want to look good and wear the shirt and tie and get out there and work within the corporate realm and still exercise your creativity doing so, there's a pathway for you there. If you want to get into the artistic, crazy side, be nonconformist and march to the beat of your own drum, you know what? You have just as much opportunity. Some might argue even more, because you can be the independent and run your life your own way and start your own company, start your own firm, and be completely independent of any kind of shackles on you. So that's what's beautiful about this field,
It's very cool.
Absolutely.
So you can go like anywhere you want, and it attracts pretty much like all forms of art.
And be anybody you want to be. That's what's beautiful about it. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's about all I've got.
Cool.
So,
well, let me ask you. You came here. You spent a day with us. Tell me your thoughts. You said that it was more than what you thought it was going to be. When you first thought you were coming here and you heard about what we did, what did you think it was going to be?
I didn't really think about like all the effects and things that were put into it. I was just thinking, like, you make a movie and then you just piece it together. That's about the most I thought about.
Mm-hmm.
But then I come here and learn that there's all this cool stuff, like adding effects and making sure the lighting's right and making all the music for everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that stuff was really cool. So I think I might look into this a lot more.
Good.
See if
I'm glad. I wish you would have known about this 4 years ago, man.
Yeah,
You could have been
I
coming
probably
here.
would have come here.
No doubt about it. That's awesome. And then there's the other aspect of this too. We didn't really touch on this, but I mentioned communications specialists. You didn't see our virtual classroom. We haven't showed you our website and all the things that we're doing with virtual communications and using that for education and community outreach. There are people out there that are making good money and as specialists in these digital media or not digital media production, but digital communications. They're helping businesses maximize their outreach and communications efforts through the use of video streaming technologies, webcasting, live virtual conferencing, things like that. So you're not only seeing the production aspect of this in that type of career pathway, but there's server side technologies that you have to understand too. Setting up and managing Flash Media Server and running cPanel for website authentication, user management, you name it. There's the communications side of this business, which if you're a consultant and you're creative and you're a good speaker, man, you can make a lot of money out there teaching other people how to maximize their investment in communications by duplicating themselves on the web and reaching out long distance using these virtual technologies. And if you understand these basics, man, you would be shocked at how what we know as the basics of these types of fields here in this high school program, You get out into the real world, and to us, after 6 months of doing this, you go, man, this is easy. It's really a no-brainer. And you go out into the real world, man, most people, it's still Star Trek to them. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of possibilities there as far as that goes in the realm of communications as well. And streaming media. We pressed a button there, and you saw our Wirecast sending it out over Flash Media, and it looks beautiful. A live web stream. Wow. Looked easy. There's a lot of configuration. There's a lot of math. There's a lot of science in there, calculating proper bit rates to make sure that the server is sending a good quality stream out to multiple users across these redundant lines, and then you're tracking the statistics on the server to make sure that they're not getting dropped packets, and there's